Excel is the go-to spreadsheet for millions of people, but I found a rising star that makes it look outdated. This new tool has a familiar spreadsheet interface, but it reimagines how fast you can work with the power of AI. Picture creating complex charts like this and animations like this without having to write a single formula or line of code. How is that even possible? It's all thanks to this brand new application called Quadratic. It's a next generation spreadsheet that combines AI with the power of code for faster insights. For data analysts, this tool is a dream. You can quickly create charts using simple natural language to direct the built-in AI, and query databases even if you have no SQL knowledge. But it's not just for analysts, because finance teams can use Quadratic to help with decision making, going from idea to model in seconds with the help of AI. And product managers can get instant analytics on user data without having to wait on data teams or multiple tools. What about sales and marketing? Covered. You can get quick insights into prospect data and create flexible reports fast with repeatable models for your unique workflow. As for business leaders, the built-in AI is a game changer for business intelligence, not to mention that it's built to make team collaboration a seamless experience. But wait, doesn't Excel 365 have Copilot as its built-in AI? Well, unlike Copilot, I found that the AI in Quadratic feels much more tightly integrated. You can chat with the AI in a sheet chat, ask it questions, and get analysis done. It automatically generates Python code for you. And if there's an error in the code, you can click on Fix with AI to have the AI look at the actual code in the code editor. The AI figures out what's wrong, and then you can apply its solution. In my experience, this makes it a lot more helpful than Excel's Copilot. As you can see, Quadratic is pretty special. But how does it compare to Excel for speed and ease of use? I'll test them head to head with the goal of creating these visualizations. Now you might be wondering what these charts are showing. Well, to answer that, let me give you a quick explainer. Have you ever heard the phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket? The idea is that you can lower your risk by spreading your investments into different places. It's called diversification. Billionaire investor Warren Buffett says that diversification is for those who don't know what they're doing. On the other hand, another billionaire investor called Ray Dalio makes it his holy grail of investing. He recommends diversifying an investment portfolio to reduce the risk without hurting your gains. He says the key to doing this is to invest in 15 to 20 assets that have little or no correlation. But what's correlation? It's just a way to measure how closely two things move together. Take ice cream and sunburn. In summer months, ice cream sales go up because people enjoy ice cream more when it's hot. But sunburn cases also go up, so they're positively correlated. Now take sunglasses and hot chocolate. When it's hot in the summer, sunglasses sales go up and hot chocolate sales go down. But when it's cold and dark in the winter, sunglasses sales go down and hot chocolate sales go up. They are negatively correlated. Finally, here's another two. The number of times you snap your fingers in a day and that day's stock market performance. The two things are totally uncorrelated. There's no meaningful connection between them, much as I wish there was. So what Ray Dalio was saying is that if you can invest in 15 to 20 high return assets that have low correlations, you get the best balance of low risk and strong returns. Now we've covered correlation, I'm going to use it to test Excel against Quadratic to see which one comes out on top. Here's what I'll try to make. It's an interactive animated chart. This chart shows how the investment return on two fictional stocks correlate from perfectly negative -1 to uncorrelated 0 to perfectly positive +1. What's more, there's a special tool I just started to use that saves me a lot of time every day, and most people have no idea that it exists. It's not Excel or Quadratic, so keep watching to find out what it is and how it could save you time too. Let's start with a blank Excel sheet. So step 1 is to generate the random stock returns. I'll label column A with stock A and column B with stock B. Now I'll enter a formula to generate random numbers from a normal distribution. We'll have a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1, and I'll fill this for 100 rows. Step 2 is to define a named range called correlation. So we'll put in the term correlation here, and we'll assign it a value of 0 for now. We'll replace it later with a formula. Now selecting these cells, I'm going to press Ctrl+Shift F3, and that will create names from the selected range. I'm going to select left column and click OK. We can check this by pressing Ctrl F3 to bring up the name manager, and we see there's a new name called correlation that refers to E2, which is this cell. And step 3 is to generate correlated returns for stock B. I'll put in a new formula here. This uses the name range we just defined, and double click to fill it down. Let's freeze stock A returns. So I'll select this column, press Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl Alt V to paste special, and select values only. Step 4 is to insert an interactive control. So we need a slider for that. Go to the Developer tab, or if you don't have it, you can right click on any menu and customize the ribbon, and then select Developer, and then choose OK. Click on Developer, go to Insert, and choose to insert a form control that's a scroll bar. Now I'll make it go from G to M, then I'll right click on the scroll bar and choose Format Control. We'll set the maximum value, 200, and we'll link it to cell E3, and click OK. Now, when I change the slider, you'll see this value changes. And let's label this slider. Step 5 is to set up this correlation calculation. I use a formula. This means when we slide the slider to the left, we end up with -1. And when we slide the slider to the right, we end up with +1. Now let's add labels. Step 6 is to create the dynamic scatter plot. We'll select the data here, Ctrl A, click on Insert, and choose a chart of type scatter. We'll change the title by double clicking on it. And the final step, step 7, is to format this chart for clarity. I'll click on this axis, change the minimum to -3, maximum to 3, check the x-axis, do the same. Finally, resize this, reposition it. Hold down Alt and then click, so it snaps to the grid. And there we have it. Wow, that was a lot of steps, but now it's ready. Let's slide the scroll bar to the left. At -1, the stocks are perfectly negatively correlated, so the chart is angled down at 45 degrees. If I slide it to 0, we get a random distribution. There's no correlation. And when I slide it all the way up to +1, we get a perfect positive correlation. So the chart is angled up at 45 degrees. This interactive chart clearly shows stock correlation, but it's missing a couple of things compared to our target. First, it's not an animation. I can change the slider values, but the chart only updates when I release the slider control. What I really want is for it to smoothly play when I click a button. Second, the plot color doesn't change as we go from -1 to +1. What I'd love to do is to have the points start in one color and gradually transition to another as we slide from -1 to +1. I asked the AI search engine Perplexity to tell me how do I achieve this, and this is what it told me. To be honest, I didn't even try because it looks like too much work. So let's turn to Quadratic. How well does it do on this task? The first thing I'm going to do is create a new file. I'll rename it by clicking here. On the left-hand side, you'll see a panel called Sheet Chat. This is where we can chat with the built-in AI assistant. There's currently a choice of different AI models, as you can see in this menu, and we can ask a question by typing into this gray box. But remember that earlier I told you about a special tool that I just discovered? This makes it so much easier to enter prompts. When I press a custom shortcut, you can see a little black bar pop up at the bottom of the screen. All I do is speak into the microphone and it transcribes what I'm saying. This tool is called Wispr Flow, and you can try it for free using the link in the description below. Let's enter a new prompt with the help of Wispr Flow. I want your help to build me a stock correlation animation chart. It needs to show stock A returns versus stock B returns to show the concept of correlation with 100 data points. Give the chart a title of stock correlation animation. I want it to be 800 pixels wide by 800 pixels tall, so it has a square aspect ratio. Make it an interactive scatter plot with a slider on the bottom that goes from -1 to +1. When there is perfectly positive correlation, I want the dots on the scatter plot to be red. When there's perfectly negative correlation, the dots should be blue. And when they're uncorrelated, make them gray. Make sure to handle the color changes smoothly. And add buttons under the title to let the user play or pause the animation. So I'm happy to use Claude 3.7 Sonnet because it's very good for coding. And all I need to do now is click Submit. So the AI is generating the code, and I'll fast forward to when it's done. Wow, look at that. The AI did all of this by itself. I just directed it using some straightforward English. Let's test it out. I hit play to play the full animation. And I can move the slider in a very fluid way. You can see the dots change color as we go from negative to positive correlation. And if it doesn't come out the way you want, you can just continue the chat to ask for changes. Notice I can zoom in if I just do this. So it's a very interactive chart. I can just double click to zoom back out. Now, how do we see the code it generated? We can click on the chart and then click on these angled brackets or press the / for the code editor. So we can see the Python code in the code editor, and at the very beginning, the AI assistant has imported different Python libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, and Plotly to make the visualization happen. Isn't that cool? And I didn't write a single line of code. This makes it much easier and faster than what I did earlier in Excel, when we had to know what formulas to use and all the steps needed to insert the slider and chart by ourselves. So even if you love Excel, like me, and you use it every day, make sure you check out Quadratic using the link in the description below. And also let me know in the comments what you think of Quadratic and whether or not you can see yourself using it instead of Excel. If not, why not? Write it in the comments. It's a great application that's getting better by the month, and I think it's really going to give Excel a run for its money. But we're not done just yet. It's one thing to see this animated chart, but how do we show the actual correlations between different stocks on the market? Remember Ray Dalio's holy grail of investing? We need a way to visualize the correlations between different stocks so we can assess whether or not they're strongly correlated. Investors use a tool called the stock correlation matrix to do this. Let's head back to Quadratic. First, let's create a table called Assets. I'll enter the prompt using Wispr Flow. Create a table in cell A1 called Assets. Make it a single column that contains the stock tickers for Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Tesla. Now let's continue the chat. I'm going to select this and backspace to get rid of the question. To save time, I'm just going to copy and paste the prompt that I used earlier. This actually uses the Y Finance library, which is a free Python library that pulls data from Yahoo Finance. Now I'll hit submit, and you can see it's starting to generate all the code in the sheet chat. I'll let it do its work and fast forward. Cool, it's done. Let's test out the slider to see stock correlations in different time periods. As I move the slider, you can see the chart immediately updates. And with 2 prompts, we've created a table of these 5 stocks and this animated correlation matrix. And I didn't type a single formula or line of code. But I'm sure you've noticed that the correlation chart has a lot of red and no blues. So the 5 stocks that I chose, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Tesla, they're all technology stocks, so they're very highly correlated. That doesn't give very good diversification. So let's ask the AI to add more stocks. I'm going to use Wispr Flow here. Expand the assets table to add 15 stocks that are likely to be uncorrelated or negatively correlated with the existing stocks, such as Nike, Procter & Gamble, Walmart, Visa, and Johnson & Johnson. And I'll submit, and the AI is updating the table. And it's also updating the correlation matrix, which is going to take some time because it needs to pull 5 years of data for each of these new stocks. I'll fast forward to show you the end result. And here we are, a stock correlation matrix comparing 20 different stocks. And as I change the time period with the slider, you can see different patterns of red, white, and blue, showing how strongly or weakly correlated the stocks are. For example, if we look at Amazon against Johnson & Johnson stock, we see blue, which means a negative correlation in the 1 week time frame. But if I move the slider to show correlation over a 5-year period, it changes to a very pale pink. In fact, almost all of the chart is red or white. So now you've seen how Quadratic can easily create amazing visualizations. But when you test out apps like Quadratic or even work on your Excel skills, it can be even more important to generate your own custom data. Without good data, you don't have anything to work with. And up till now, it's been hard to generate custom data. But don't worry. If you watch this video next, you'll learn my secret hack to generate endless practice datasets in just 10 minutes from now.